Saint Anthony Audio presents Saint Amandus from the Golden Legend, Lives of the Saints by Jacobus de Voragine. Amandus received his name from the fact that he was worthy of all love. For, in him, were the three things that made a man worthy of love. First, true friendship, of which it is said in the book of Proverbs, "A man amiable in society shall be more friendly than a brother." Second, honorable conduct, for it was said of Esther, "And her incredible beauty made her appear agreeable and amiable in the eyes of all." Third, righteousness and virtue, for it is said, "Saul and Jonathan, lovely and comely in their life." Born of noble parents, Amandus became a monk in his early youth. Walking one day in the monastery, he saw a serpent. He offered a prayer to God, and the serpent crawled back into his hole and came out no more. Some time later, Amandus betook himself to the tomb of St. Martin and stayed there 15 years, clothed in a hair shirt and subsisting on barley bread and water. Going to Rome, he passed a whole night in prayer in the church of St. Peter, but the sexton roughly drove him away. Then the saint fell asleep before the door of the church, and St. Peter appeared to him and ordered him to go into Gaul and to humble King Dagobert for his crimes. But the king resented his coming and commanded him at once to leave his kingdom. Meanwhile, Dagobert was sore aggrieved that he was without children, and at last, in answer to his prayers, a son was born to him, and he thought to have the child baptized by Saint Amandus. Therefore, he sought out the whereabouts of the saint and pleaded for his pardon and asked him to baptize the son whom the Lord had bestowed upon him. Amandus gladly yielded to the first of these requests, but refused the second, not wishing to take part in the affairs of the world. In the end, however, he acquiesced to the king's pleadings, and at the moment when he baptized the child, it responded aloud, "Amen," while all the others had remained silent. Dagobert then elevated him to the bishopric of Maastricht. But when Amandus saw that the people paid little heed to his preaching, he went off to Gascony. There, a strolling player who made sport of the saint's words fell into the possession of the devil and tore his flesh with his own teeth, avowing that he had done injury to a man of God. A certain bishop kept the water in which Saint Amandus had washed his hands, and later on, this water restored sight to a blind man. Another time, the saint, with the king's approbation, was about to build a monastery in a certain place, and the bishop of a nearby city, who was displeased with the plan, sent his servitors to drive Amandus away or even to put him to death. These men accosted the saint and tried to deceive him by saying that they would bring him to another place better fitted for the building. The saint saw through their ruse, but, thirsting for martyrdom, he followed them to the top of a mountain, where they intended to kill him. But all of a sudden, the mountain was covered with rain and fog so dense that the bishop's henchmen could not see each other. They were seized with a great fear that they were about to die, and they threw themselves at the saint's feet, beseeching him to intercede with God to allow them to depart safely. At the prayer of Amandus, fair weather returned, and the bishop's men hurried themselves to their homes. Saint Amandus worked many other miracles before he departed this life in the peace of the Lord. Amandus flourished about the year 653 in the reign of Heraclius. We celebrate the feast of Saint Amandus every year on the 6th of February. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's legend, please click the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and be sure to turn on all notifications. That way, you'll never miss out on another great legend or a great truth of our most holy Roman Catholic faith. Thanks again for listening, and God bless.